Welcome to the Bettis Musgrove Show, the podcast where personal injury legal expertise meets real-world advice to empower and protect you. Join us as we delve into the critical aspects of personal injury cases, break down legal jargon into actionable insights, and share essential safety tips to help you navigate life's unexpected moments. And now, here are your hosts, Spencer Bettis and Ben Musgrove.
All right, welcome back to the Bettis Musgrove Show. We're now on Season 2, Episode 15. We like to dig into the stories behind the people, the places, and the passions that shape our community. And today, we're going to keep doing the exact same thing. As always, I'm your host, Ben Musgrove. It's my law partner, Spencer Bettis.
Hey!
Christopher Light. We're normally joined by Spencer Bettis, but he's been deployed with the Army, so we're holding down the fort while he's gone. Prayers for him and his family. Like I said, today we're going to keep it super local. We're here at the Tallant Baseball Museum, also described as Cooperstown of the South, with an absolute Forsyth County legend in Mr. Johnny Tallant. Mr. Johnny, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
It's a pleasure to have you on here. Look forward to hearing these stories we've been talking about already, but I wanted to read you this. This is how artificial intelligence describes you on the internet. It says, Johnny is a beloved Cumming, Georgia native, a longtime educator and coach, a diehard collector who's been curating one of the most impressive personal baseball museums in the country from right inside his own basement.
We've gotten a tour of this.
That's good. That's good.
That's pretty good.
The guy that named it Cooperstown South was Bob Rathbun, the announcer for the Hawks and Braves. He came one time here and he said Cooperstown South. So that's why the kids back, they got that placemat and signs and all that says Cooperstown South.
Well, it's certainly impressive. You gave us a tour of the museum earlier, and I don't know how you had time to collect all this, but it is incredible.
Bit by bit, since a long time ago.
And we'll run some B-roll in the background of the podcast.
I don't ever throw a whole lot of stuff away. I keep most everything.
Well, tell us about it. Tell us about the Tallants and how you grew up and what this place was like and where this all started.
All right, I'm one of the Tallants, and my dad and my uncle, Waylon and Leland Tallant, they're the ones that found Tallant Brothers Auto Parts, actually about a quarter mile up the road here in 1941, right after Pearl Harbor. And they started doing cars and all, and Leland, my uncle, lived up there. And then they moved down. Then in 1953, they bought these 15 acres that's across the street from here, and that's where they had the auto parts the whole time. I was born in 1949 in Atlanta, and have two brothers that are 4 years older than me. My mom was an oar, was claimed to Byron Oar and all the oars, so we're kin to all those. My grandmother was a herd.
Wait a second. That's how we're related.
So I was about to ask.
Through our marriage.
Yeah, through
marriage.
Vicky, she's my first cousin.
That's right.
And
that's my aunt.
And then we're also, my grandfather passed away when my dad was 12, and my grandmother passed away before I was born in 46. I never knew any one of them, but my grandmother was a herd, and her brother was Mark Hurd Sr., who the herd fuel and herd. And so they kind of got my dad and uncle started in business, and we've always been real close with the herds. We consider them, we used to go to Christmas with them and all his same family, but the Orrs and the herds and the Tallants are all kind of in Maine. But we've been here the whole time. I've lived in 3 different places in this county. In South Coal Mountain on State Barn Road. That's where I lived till I was 13.
South Coal Mountain.
Then I moved up here off just across the street on Highway 9 when I was 13. And then when I got married, we had property on Mountain Road. That's where my dad was born, and we had a trailer there. And then I bought this house for my brother in 75. So we've been here since 75. So hadn't gone very far from this area, and so that's kind of how the auto parts is still in business. My 2 brothers and my nephew run it. I keep books for them. I've done that since I worked there when I was 10, 12 years old, all the way up through there. But other than that, that's mainly that's how we got started with all the family deals, you know.
Well, we got a running joke between Christopher Light and Spencer Bettis. We know are related to everybody in this county in some way.
Well, that's the way my daughter is. She's a PA at North Fulton Hospital. I mean, at Northside Forsyth now, and there a lot of people that come in there. She knows them, and they all tell her. Dr. Mize knows a lot of people in Doctor. They know him, but she says she's on both sides. She knows a lot of people that come through there, and so
we can't go to lunch without shaking 15 hands before we sit down at the table. So,
well, I met a lady today that used to teach with me at Forsyth County at the IHOP this morning that I hadn't seen in a long time. But
are you kin to Kevin Tallant?
Yeah, Kevin would be a cousin of ours. Not real close. There's a whole
Well,
group.
I wouldn't admit to it either.
Well, there's a whole. He's right there with you, close to you on the thing. He's right there. His son was in. No, I guess Kevin was in school with my daughter, and then his son or daughter one was in school with the some of the grandkids. They know them, but his dad was Harrison Tallant, and I think they would be my dad's first cousins. There's the Tallants kind of divided up. There's a bunch of them over around the Friendship, Ducktown area, and then ours is right here around Cold Mountain. But there's not many here. Just my dad, and my uncle, and the ones up on Hopewell Road, Joel Tallant. Not that many, but we see a lot of signs for Tallant Road and.
Yeah.
Tallant Farms is not really that's not us. I don't know why they say that. But
you can claim it. Nobody.
But yeah, that's kind of, we're kind of related to a lot of people. And then from the years of me teaching school, I knew a lot of people and all that. So,
well, getting into that, where'd you go to school?
I went to school at the university. I went to Forsyth County High School.
Okay.
Graduated in 1967. Went to Truett McConnell College the first year for 1 year. And then I decided, we found up it was $300 a quarter to go, and they were going up to $500 a quarter. It sounds crazy, don't it? But
that's a textbook nowadays.
We could go to Gainesville College for like $80. So the summer of my sophomore year, we went to Gainesville, took 2 courses, and I took 3 courses that fall at Gainesville. And then I went on to the University of Georgia in January of 69, and I went January 2 quarters, and then the next full year and the next fall, and I graduated the fall of 70. I just turned 21 then. I got a degree in marketing and didn't know really what I was going to do. I had no idea. And Doug Fredericks, who was the principal at Midway Elementary, had a lady who was leaving at Christmas. He called me sometime in like October, November, and said, "You want to finish out the year teaching?" I said, "Well, I guess might as well." So I went down there and taught 8th grade English, math, everything in the 8th grade for like half a year. And then at the end of the year, he said, "You want to come back next year?" The guy was leaving that taught social studies and coached basketball. "You want to come back and teach and coach basketball?" I said, "Yeah." So I went back, and in the meantime, I'd taken one correspondence course, and I took 1 course at Marietta. I guess then the next year when I got married, got married in June of 72, and we moved to Athens, and I took 3 more courses that summer to get certified as a social studies teacher. And I taught 1 year over in Madison County, South Madison Middle School. That's where I got my football coaching experience. I coached a full year of coaching. I told somebody the other day I wasn't going to give Kirby Smart and them any advice because I was 0-8 in my coaching. And that was the only time I had to coach football. I didn't like it, but it was either coach football or not. But it was hard to get a job around Athens because all the professors, teachers, wives and all. But I taught 1 year, coached basketball and football over there, and got my driver's ed certificate over there. Came back here, and we put a trailer on the land down on Mountain Road where it was at, and taught 2 years at Dawson County. And at Dawson County is when I taught 7th grade and 6th grade social studies, coached 8th grade basketball, and started the softball program at Dawson County.
Okay. Oh, wow. And you coached softball and baseball for years.
I coached softball. I was doing youth. I started doing youth baseball in 71 when I was teaching Midway. I was 21. Those boys were just 12. That's a team the first year I coached, we were 12-0, had a real good team and all that stuff. So
I got a question for you then. So I'm coaching 8U softball right now, and I cannot get these girls to pay attention for more than 10 minutes when they're in the field. What's the trick?
That's tough. That's tough to do. Main thing, the worst thing you're trying to do is the kids trying to pitch or the adult?
No, I'm pitching.
The coach pitch is not too bad. When it gets into kid pitching, I don't know, I shouldn't say this on air, but the people who invented fast pitch softball won't go to heaven. I don't know. I understand that's the way they play in college. That's the way they got to play, but slow pitch is so much more fun.
Yeah. Well, I got them out there.
I started in that 8 year. In fact, we started the first 8 and under softball team. My daughter was 7 and she wanted to play softball. And so we went to Oak Grove at that time. They had a team up there, and all they had was 10 and under softball. So she was going to have to play with Brandy Bennett, all those girls that were 9 and 10. I said, "There's no way to do that." And I wound up talking to Hilda Thomas over at Chestatee. She had 2 twin daughters, same age. She was having the same problem. I said, "Well, shoot, let's just form our own league." So we formed our own league. We played Chestatee every game. It was but it was more fun. We'd go to Chestatee one week. They'd come to Oak Grove, but we played. At least they got to play, and they didn't have to play against 9 and 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
and we made the rules and all that stuff. We kept it. He couldn't run all the time. He had to, but I don't know. I mean, coach 7-8 softball is hard. It is hard. But
I'm coaching Coal Mountain. We're playing Fowler Park tonight, so we'll see how it goes.
Of course, you run into a lot of them that just don't want to play and all that.
Oh, they're building sandcastles and drawing circles in the dirt.
And a lot of people think that's fun. When I was coaching 5 and 6 boys, I thought it drove me crazy because they'd be out playing things. And then I tried to tell them, I said, if they don't want to play, they should stay home.
Right.
Oh, well, you're being compelled. I said, no, if they're not ready, there's no use in being out there.
I tell you, it's neat though. They'll be over there digging a hole in the infield, and somebody will hit the ball, and they immediately look up, run over to it.
Yeah, I was lucky. I had some pretty good 7 and 8 year old girls, and then they developed into 9 and 10, and we had pretty good success. We never did anything older than that until I did high school, but it was real good. Softball is competitive around here.
You coached some high school teams.
High school teams I coached I coached the Dawson County team for 2 years. We won the region championship our last year. That was the first year they actually had a region. They did, and we played in the spring. They didn't have a state competition at all. I came to Forsyth County in '75. And because I left Dawson County because I was coaching at Dawson County, and I would have probably stayed up there, but they were giving me $600 to coach softball and basketball. And I didn't know if that was much or not. It wouldn't, but then the next year they gave me a contract and said $900. Oh, that's good. Then Dawson County did not have football that first year I was there. They were adding football. So they said, oh, you're going to coach football. I said, well, no, I don't think so. I don't know anything about football. Well, we'll take $300 off your contract. I said, you can't do that. They did, and I did. I said, well, so then they called me from Forsyth County. Mr. Ott said, we got an opening for a social studies teacher, and you get $750 for the county supplement. So I got more money for not coaching than coaching. So I taught 3 years without coaching. Then the girl who was coaching softball didn't want to coach. So I started in the spring of 79. 79 and 80 we played in the spring and did a few games in the fall. 81's when they started state competition in the fall. We started playing 81. And for Forsyth County, I had real good teams. I had super team, but we were in the region all the time with Parkview and Brookwood. We couldn't ever get out of the region. Every year got through, and I was there through 88, and we'd always finish runner-up in the region, never could get to the state, because at that time only one team went to the state. So I go to, at 89, they're starting south, and Mr. Weaver, the principal, said, are you going to school with me, or are you going to stay here? And I said, well, I guess I'll stay here. He said, you stay here, you're on your own. They're doing away with driver's ed. You got to go back in the classroom. A new principal's coming in. They're going to stick it to you. Come with me and I'll protect you. I said, I guess I'll go with you. I went with him.
So Mr. Weaver was my first principal at North.
He gave me like 2 in-school suspensions, a lunchroom duty, and a couple of classes. It wasn't much better than I thought it'd be. But then the first year we were down there, we have a losing record, but we were real young. And then the second year down there, we go to the state. And, of course, we were in AA. And then in the 5th year, we won the state down there. But
what year was that?
1994.
94.
But we had good teams, but we were playing a lot easier teams than we did in South County High School. But it was good. And then we continued on until I coached them. I retired in 99, but it was a long.
So you had 30 total years in education.
30 total years in education. 29 and a half, I guess. Okay. Enough sick leave days. So I've been retired 26 years.
That's incredible.
And the retirement is unbelievable. We get like a 3% raise every year built in.
So in addition,
make more and keep your insurance and all that.
Yeah. In addition to coaching all the teams that you coached and teaching for 30 years and doing driver's ed,
doing the books at the
auto parts and doing magistrate stuff. Yeah, I was doing.
That's what I was going to ask. So you were a magistrate judge as well.
Yeah, from 81 on, I was doing. But like I say, I didn't have to do that much in it. I was on call a weekend a month.
Well, tell us how that came about
becoming a magistrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 1980, I guess it was, and auto parts over here kept having bad checks. And there was one magistrate incoming, Mr. Marginoff, and he was hard to get a hold of. I would go out there and try to find him if we had a bad check, never could find him. And my dad said, why don't you go, this is the best advice my dad ever gave me. He said, why don't you go down there and sign up to be a justice of peace? So I go down there and sign up for the election, because you could have one in each community, or you could have one appointed. But there was one already appointed for Coal Mountain, but he wasn't active. But I went down there and got elected because nobody ran against me, thankfully. And then when I got elected, there was 4 of us that got elected, and then Mr. Marginoff, and we all went in there. And the 2 or 3 of them wanted to do all this stuff and come and do all this. I said, no, I don't want to do any of that stuff. And we finally agreed, that I'd handle the Coal Mountain stuff. He would handle Big Creek, and Mr. Martinhoff would handle all the Cummins stuff. And then after 2 years, the state changed it over from justice peace to magistrate judge, and they appointed a chief magistrate. At that time, they appointed the probate judge as chief magistrate, and she then turned the chief judge appointed 4 of us as magistrates. And then we worked under her for the 2 years. Then Judge Jackson came in, and I worked under him for 3 terms, I guess. Then in 99, the new magistrate got in, and she wanted all lawyers. So we were out, but I'd already checked with the probate judge, and she said I was guaranteed or grandfathered in to do weddings. Back then, I probably didn't do 10 or 15 weddings a year, or just occasionally. She'd call me and say, I got a couple want to get married. Oh, I forgot to turn my phone off.
That's all right.
But I started doing weddings, and then later on, after I retired from teaching, I started doing more and more weddings. Now I do probably almost 300 a year.
Oh, wow.
I've done 6,000.
Goodness gracious.
I've done 6,000 weddings total.
So you keep a ledger of them all?
I keep a record. I'm right there on the name. I used to make pictures of all of them, but he got where it was too hard.
He was my star witness. I had to prove a marriage for to be an heir of an estate.
Yeah.
And Johnny was my star witness as the magistrate.
I've been a magistrate for 5 years now. And
you've been doing it 5 years, huh?
And I've only done 3 weddings.
Oh, have you?
So
y'all can do them anytime, and y'all can get your name on the list out there, but nobody's on the list because y'all don't want to do them. I mean, like if they call me 10 minutes, I can be out there and do them. I'll do them anytime, day or night. Or like the other day, I was at the Captain D's eating lunch, and this lady called me and said she just had got her license. I said, well, I'll be home in an hour. And she said, well, we're just sitting here in the truck. And I said, well, come to Captain D's. Come to Captain D's. We did it right there in front of Captain D's. We did one at the Whataburger one time.
That's awesome.
We've done some strange
The second one I did, it was a young man and a woman, and she was pregnant, and she was due to have that baby any minute.
Anytime, yeah. I did one yesterday like that.
She wanted to be married before she had it, so we did it right there on the couch in her lawyer's office. It was pretty wild. She couldn't even stand up to do the vows. We had to do it sitting down.
It's amazing how many foreign weddings I do. Over half of them are foreign. And I got a map on the back porch with pins in different countries. I had 60-something different countries.
So you done 6,000 weddings, you said?
6,000 weddings.
That's
incredible. So we were looking at all the stuff around here. How did the passion for this baseball and this thing, how did this start?
I had all this stuff, or I had a lot of all the cards. I had all the cards, and I don't know how I got started on the bobbleheads. I got started first with mini bats, those little mini bats in there. I got started. I said, every time I go to a game, I want to get one of those. And then this guy that worked for us at Auto Parts was good on the computers when computers started, and he would go into delve into stuff and put in mini bats, and he'd find somebody that had 10 mini bats for $20, and we'd order them and bring them and get them home. I started hanging them up and started getting places to hang them and all. Then I started trying to get them from different colleges and minor league teams, and then the mini bats we just kept getting mini bats, because back then you could get a mini bat pretty cheap, $3 or $4, and it's better than trying to keep a hat I used to have a bunch of hats. I had 300 and something hats, so I gave a lot of them away to the Miracle League team people.
Yeah.
I just take them up there and give them to them. The bobbleheads, we just kind of got started doing them, and like I say, we trade. I don't sell or buy bobbleheads, but I'll trade or give away bobbleheads, and got started on those. And then
how many you think you got?
I got 260, I think, bobbleheads.
And most of them are Atlanta Braves, it looks like.
There's a lot of those over there are not. A lot of those are Hall of Famers or people that go to other towns. They'll bring some back. My son-in-law worked up in Cincinnati and brought me back a bunch of Cincinnati Reds ones, and I don't know where he bought those or got them something. And then people will be moving, and they'll give me their collection. They'll leave. A lot of people left stuff here.
Yeah.
That scoreboard, the guy gave me the scoreboard, uniforms and stuff, or just stuff that people, a lot of stuff people just give me,
How many mini bats do you have?
Though I think there's about 200 mini bats.
Okay. And regular bats?
Regular bats, there's probably about 25 or 30 of those regular bats. Some of those are people that's players just give me those. My son worked at, when he graduated from West Georgia in a sports management program, and he did an internship at the Rome Braves.
Yeah. He was there for 2 years. The same time you were there.
He was there for 2 years.
What year did you go there?
He graduated at West Georgia in 2003.
I started there in 2002.
Okay, so he started in 99. He graduated high school. and he graduated in 2003. In his last semester, he did an internship, and I knew some people from the Braves, and I kind of got him in. So he did an internship. Of course, he got up there, and they don't pay you anything but just minimum wage, and then made him be the mascot. He hated it, but he was great as Romy.
I can't wait to ask
he
him
was
about
great as Romy. He bounced and throw around. He was the best one they ever had, and he stayed on. He stayed on actually for another full year, but he wasn't making any money and wasn't really any way to advance. The only way to advance there is move around. So he wound up coming back here and working at the auto parts with us. But that's how we got started going to Rome so much, and we still go to Rome 2 or 3 times a year.
It's a good time.
It's fun.
They put on a good show. I mean,
it was much better when it first started. The last couple of years, they've kind of gone downhill a little bit. But that's how we got started at Rome, and we'd go to their Rome hot stove thing, and we got to know a lot of the people up there.
When I first moved up here from West Georgia, I lived across the highway from the Striper Stadium.
Oh, did you?
Over there in Gwinnett, and that was a good time.
We went over there last week. My little girl sang at the 7th inning stretch.
Okay.
And,
did you?
Yeah. So I haven't been in a while, man.
We go a lot over there to the 12 o'clock day games because I'll retire. In fact, the other day we went and I was the youngest person there. We had a carload of 6 of us. 2 of them was 84, one is 80, one is 79, one is 77. I'm 75, so I felt good being the youngest
he's
one.
49.
Spring chicken.
The one there. That was.
That's
but yeah,
cool.
we go over there. And if it wasn't for the kid, they just don't draw much over there.
Yeah.
They have trouble drawing, but
they do big things like you said, for the kids. They have big night slides and that type of stuff. It's fun.
Speaking of stadiums, have you been to every MLB stadium?
Well, I've been to 50 MLB stadiums, but there's some new ones that I hadn't been to. That kind of started, well, going further back, I started on that list of mine. I started in 1966 when the Braves moved to Atlanta. Went to some games there that year. I'd gone to some minor league games at Ponce de Leon Park in the early 60s, 61, 62, 63. 67, when we graduated high school, my first cousin Wade and I, we got his older brother who was 3 years older, Jimmy, and we wanted to go to Houston to the Astrodome. It was brand new, right in 65. So we drove from Atlanta to Houston. We got out there. I got one good story to tell you about that. We got there, and because we had country bumpkins, had never been anywhere, we went out to eat to this fancy steakhouse. I may not have been fancy, nobody else. We thought we was high heaven. We got a steak. We got a baked potato. And when they brought it out, and it was steaming hot, and we had never seen a baked potato. I mean, at home we had French fries, we had cream taters, that kind of stuff. We didn't know what. And so he popped it open, and smoke come in, and all 3 of us. And I know he went back and told the people that we got some bumpkins up here. But it was funny though, but we had a great time. We didn't know anything, but we went to the fancy restaurant, and then we went to the ball game. They had big roast beef sandwiches. Everything was big in Texas. But then after that, I went to more games at the Braves Stadium and all that stuff. And then in 76, I guess it was, I was umpire. Cecil Castleberry and I lived in Chesapeake. He and I were I started umpiring a lot in the middle 70s because my daughter was born in 74 and I quit playing softball.
So Cecil Castleberry, I moved into that, or married into that family.
Yeah, that's
grief.
Well, Cecil's not, that's Ricky. This is Cecil from Chesapeake.
Oh, I was thinking they had
no, that's not them. That's Rhonda. That's Bud's. Bud's their grandfather. I know, but I went to the ball game with Bud. Long story. But anyway, Cecil and I decided we wanted to go to see a game in Yankee Stadium. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, if we're going to do that, let's go to Yankee and Mets same day. Oh, we can't do it. I said, yeah. So I found a Thursday that they were both playing at home. So we got our airline tickets. Again, he had never flown at all. I'd flown one time to Baltimore with my wife's family. I think I'd only flown one time. We flew up there on our early bird, got up there at like 9 o'clock in the morning, took a subway and bus and all, went downtown, went to Macy's and Empire State Building, walked around all around town, just asking people where to go and didn't have any problem at all. Went to the 1 o'clock game at Shea Stadium. That game was over like 4 or 5. We go from there, take a subway and bus, I think, to Yankee Stadium. Got to Yankee Stadium for the night game. That game was over like at 10:30, 11. Our flight out wasn't until 2 in the morning at John F. Kennedy Airport. We had to take and it was right when the Son of Sam murders were going on.
Oh, goodness.
But anyway, we didn't have any trouble. We kept asking them. We got back to Atlanta at 5 in the next morning. So we had a 24-hour trip or something, and we saw 2 major league games. So the next year we decided we'd go to Chicago and do the same thing. We flew to Chicago and we got to see a doubleheader at Wrigley Field. And then we go to Comiskey Park, and the king in his court, the softball guy that throws that only has 4 players on the team, he was playing before the game at Comiskey. And then we flew back from that. So we did those 4 stadiums that day, those 2 days. I'd gone to Baltimore with my wife's family to see a game there. I got that one. And then in 79, no, it was just 79. I guess James Smith and Wade and Jerry Hogan and myself got talking about we wanted to go see Major League Stadium. So we decided we got Wade, my cousin. So we decided we'd fly to Boston. So we flew to Boston. Again, country bumpkins didn't know what I was doing. Our problem there was they couldn't understand us. We'd talk. Wade ordered a Coke for breakfast, and the girl said, "The bar's locked." We said, "Huh?" And she was trying to say the bar was locked, but we couldn't understand her. But anyway, we go to a game at Fenway that day, and freezing to death in April. Ted Williams was there. Dick Allen did a home run off Louis Tion in the old timers game. We saw 2 games there, and just stayed at the hotel near the airport, took subways again, didn't always do them. So then the next year we decided, shoot, if we're going to do that, let's do 2 teams. So we flew to Detroit, rented a car, drove to Toronto to see the minor, and Toronto was playing in Exhibition Stadium. Saw Bo Jackson play in Exhibition Stadium.
Oh, that's cool.
Drove back to Detroit. The next day, they come over the announcement, said they were overbooked their flight. We were supposed to fly home at 3:00. They said, we'll get you on the 5:00 flight and give you free flights next year. So we said, shoot, yeah, we never care. So the next year we got free flights we went to the West Coast and went to LA, San Diego, and Anaheim. So we saw 3 that year. And so every year for 20 years, we got all 30 stadiums.
I've gotten my notes from 1988 to 2007. You went
88. 30 stadiums. Yeah.
30 stadiums.
Yeah, it was 20 years. We'd try to do 2 a year. We got 3 when we went to San Francisco. And we got 3 when we went to Philadelphia. We went to Philadelphia, New York that year. And then 2007, I guess our last year, we did Milwaukee, and that was our 30th stadium with the 30th that I'd been to with them. But then I added up my others that I'd already been to, and some we went on family trips that I've been to. I went to Denver. And then I got to the last one I went with the Braves fan club to Seattle, and that made my 50th one. I thought it was my 50th one. And I got to thinking about one of them I was counting was Denver Mile High Stadium, and actually it was still minor league then. They played major league later on, but I decided if I got to heaven and they started checking me, I wanted to make sure I got that 50th one. Right. So last year the Sabre convention went to Minneapolis, so I went to Minneapolis and saw Target Field for that one.
What's your favorite one out of the 50?
Atlanta Fulton County Stadium was my first one.
Okay.
That was my first one. I mean,
that was your memory as young. Yeah.
Now, I mean, you got to say Wrigley or Fenway probably. The only thing about Fenway is when they built that Fenway Stadium, they had their 5-year-old son to sit there, and they measured the seats outside. Those seats are narrow.
Right.
You cramped in. And Wrigley is kind of that way, too. We sat out in the outfield area, not in the bleacher section, but out in the kind of the corner of the outfield. That was really good. When one year, I've been to Wrigley 5 times, I guess, because when we go to the Field of Dreams, we go to Wrigley.
Did you go before they had lights?
Yeah, we didn't. We never saw a night game.
Never saw a night game.
Never saw it. It was always day games. When we went to San Francisco, we wanted to see a night game because it was cold and all that stuff, but it got rained out of the night game, but they were playing a day game. One of the cool things, our trip to Wrigley one time, we took 25 people, I think, just flew up for one day game. And Jerry Collier, our friend, he was going the day before that game. And I told him, I said, because it was Sarah that was here a minute ago, it was her 21st birthday. I told Jerry, I said, put a birthday card under the seat. I told him what seat we were sitting on. He taped a birthday card under the seat. And we got there that day and pulled it up, and it said, "Happy birthday, Sarah."
That's cool.
And that we took like 20 people. And then next year we did Boston, same way, flew up one day and come back another. I love the one-day trips. I mean,
that's a lot of travel.
Yeah, it is. When we do those Braves 400 fan club thing, they do a 3-day thing, stay for one day. I like to see one at a time. And when we'd go to Major League Stadium, we'd always try to go see something else. Like we went to Detroit, we went out to the University of Michigan football stadium. Unbelievable. You walk out, there's 100,000 seats.
Right.
And we went to Cincinnati, we went to Ohio State, went to Washington, went to Notre Dame. The year at 95, we didn't know for sure if that was a strike year. 94 we didn't know if it's officially going to play. So we said, we're going to go to Chicago, go to Notre Dame, and go to the Field of Dreams. Yeah. Turned out we got to see games in Chicago, both of them. Saw a game at we saw Notre Dame, minor league game in South Bend, Notre Dame. We went to the Notre Dame campus, walked around, went to, that's where we met our new friends. we were walking around the campus of Notre Dame campus, and we saw these 3 guys walking along, looked kind of like us, and we said, "What are y'all doing?" Wound up, they were from Ringgold High School. One of them was a coach, and the other one was his brother and another guy, and they were doing the same thing we were doing. They had been to Chicago, and they were going to the Field of Dreams the next day. We said, "Okay, we'll meet you over there." So we met them over there and played pitch on. And then for the next 30 years, we've stayed in touch with them. He's come over here to Hot Stove, and he was in our fantasy baseball league. And we just kind of been friends for ever since then. But we met on that trip to going to the Field of Dreams. But Field of Dreams, I've been, like I say, 5 times. We went that time with those boys, and then when my son Smith graduated high school, we took a senior trip there to the Field of Dreams. When my grandsons, when they got 12, I took Hyde and Ruth one time, and then I took the other 3 the other time. So we've been to Field of Dreams
50 MLB stadiums, but nearly 130 minor league. And do you have memorabilia from every one of those places too?
I got ticket stubs from everyone because we went when they still gave tickets to. That still drives me crazy. You have to have it on your stupid phone. That's why I don't go to games in Atlanta anymore. I hate stuff on your stupid phone.
So why do you think you love baseball so much?
That was my next question.
I don't know. I just started doing it, and who got me started in baseball was Byron's dad, Quimby, and his brother Dan Orr. They used to come by my house and pick me up. I lived on State Barn Road. My daddy and them never done anything with baseball, but they'd come by and pick me up and take me to adult games, and they'd play at like Dave's Creek or Coal Mountain or at the old city park. And I learned to keep score then, and that and hitting rocks out in the yard. My dad used to get mad at me for hitting rocks. I love to hit rocks. Me and Wade would play, my first cousin, we'd play pitch at home and all, and we played Little League, and we played Little League together. And Little League back then, they only had teams at Cumming and Friendship was only 2 Little League teams they had. So we went to Cumming and played. And I was telling you, the first year I played, it was like minor league. We were 10. I was just 10, and the 11 and 12-year-olds, so we were playing, and I was the catcher, and I kept having stomach aches come out of the game. They thought I had stomach problems. Really, my blue jeans were too tight. I didn't have anything to wear, but we didn't even have uniforms or anything. Then I played Little League 2 years, 11 and 12. We played over at Free Home in Macedonia and Friendship in Coal Mountain and Cumming. And then I played 1 year of Pony League when I was 13. And that year we had a real good pitcher, and the other team had a real good, Jimmy Hogan was their pitcher. Nobody ever got a hit. They finally hit one fly ball to me the last game of the year, and I dropped it. So that was the end of my career. I realized I couldn't hit, field, or throw. Yeah. But other than that, I knew the game.
Well, you can build a museum, that's for sure.
Well, before we leave baseball, though, so all your travels, 130 minor league, 50 major league, obviously some college stadiums, different thing. What's the one place? Can you narrow down one place you'd recommend, just the whole place, the Field
of Dreams.
Yeah.
The Field of Dreams would be the sound.
And they do a major league game there every year now, don't they?
Yeah, they're doing next year. And then Cooperstown. Cooperstown was amazing. The Hall of Fame. Yeah. I've been twice with the Little League teams there, and that's amazing. Of course, and then the key, the better than Cooperstown, is Williamsport. Because Williamsport is where the Little League World Series is. You got to win to get there.
Yeah,
right.
Cooperstown, if you got money, you can go. I mean, it's great, and the kids had a good time, and there were some real good teams, but there were some bad teams, and it was fun, and they enjoyed it and all that stuff. But if you got money, you can go. But to Williamsport, you got to win your Little League district. You got to win the state. You got to win all that stuff. I've been to Williamsport before, never seen a World Series game there, but I'd say the Field of Dreams is my favorite thing to go to, and Cooperstown. When you go to the museum, have any of you been to the Cooperstown Museum? Hall of Fame. If you go to the Hall of Fame Museum, you walk in there, and one of the first things you do is they got a little 15-minute movie, and on the movie, the first thing that comes up on Cal Ripken is repeating the James Earl Jones speech from Field of Dreams. That don't tear you up. That don't make you cry. Cool. I mean, it's great.
It's hard not to be romantic about baseball.
Hard. And then my friend George Counter. When the bats we collect, there's one bat company called the Hanna Bat Company out of Athens. They made bats in Athens. You need to look it up sometime, Hanna Bats. They wound up going out of business, but in the 20s and 30s, they furnished bats to Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. They would come from Florida and stop by Athens to get them. Anyway, George found out about it, found the old building, went in and found a bunch of old records laying on the floor, and then the building burned, and he went back over there and got a somehow got up with the people that worked there, wrote a story for this Tough Stuff magazine that does baseball memorabilia. Hall of Fame found out about it, called him and said they didn't have a bat. So he sent them a hand of bat like I've got in there. And so the Hall of Fame put that bat in the museum, but it's down in the archives. So if you go up there, you get in the research department and they'll bring the bat up you have to put on gloves. I got a picture of it with my grandson.
And you've got one hanging in here?
Oh, I've got 3 or 4 of them. but George has got, and they gave George a card. He can go to the Hall of Fame anytime. But that was cool to go to the Hall of Fame.
You ought to call and see if they want a second one.
I should, but that place is amazing. I mean, and they just add on to it every year. But I'd say the Hall of Fame and the Cooperstown Hall of Fame and the Field of Dreams are 2 things. I mean, all the ballparks are fun. I mean, I like the old ballparks better. The old ballpark they had at Chattanooga had the tin roof, and the old one at Macon was good. The new ones are nice, but those old ones are pretty cool.
They are. Well, so we'll move on a little bit besides baseball. You've got a grandson that battles kidney disease, right?
Yeah.
And what's the organization? You've raised a lot of money for
AHUS. AHUS is the name of the disease. It's real long name. What happened to him when he was 1.5? They took him to the doctor. He started having problems peeing or what it was, and they said it was a kidney disease, and it was his liver was keeping his kidney from functioning. So he wound up this happened in January of that year. He wound up having to go on dialysis, but they did it peritoneal or whatever they call it, where they do it when he's sleeping. So he didn't know that he was that bad, but they would do it when he was asleep. So he was like 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. Finally, when he was 4, they found a drug called Synovus or whatever the name of the drug is, some kind of a drug, and that would enable him to get on a transplant. To get a transplant, but because it was genetic, none of us could do the transplant. None of us could donate. But my son-in-law, Sarah's husband, Warren, was a match.
Wow!
So they go to Emory Hospital and they take Warren's kidney out, put it in Hyde, and this was March of 2011. And they made the transfer, and the doctor came out and told us in an hour that he just had peed, and everybody cheered because first time in 3 years he had peed. I mean, before that, he couldn't drink but so much of water, and he had begged for water, or you'd find him at the water fountain. I mean, it was tough. But anyway, he got the transplant, everything worked good. A month after he got his transplant, or a week after he got his transplant, there was a coach from Wake Forest, Coach Walters. He donated his kidney to one of his players, a kid from Columbus, Georgia, and they did it at Emory. I read about it, didn't think much about it. We were up in Hershey Park, Pennsylvania that summer because Sarah and them were living in Pennsylvania then. The other grandfather and I were walking around, and this guy walked by us, had a Wake Forest baseball shirt on. I said, "Do you know the baseball?" He said, "I am the baseball coach." So we got talking. He said, "Okay." Told him all the story, and he said, "Well, you bring Hyde when we play Tech. You bring Hyde down and meet us." So we did that, and they met him, and he gave Hyde some Wake Forest stuff and all that stuff. And at that time, we were starting that fundraiser at Stony Mountain Preserve, where you walk up the mountain. Hike for Hyde. And so the coach from Wake Forest would send us all kind of Wake Forest stuff. And then we stayed in contact. When Warren and them moved back down here, we could take Warren down there, and all 4 of them met, the 2 donors and 2 donations.
That's awesome.
And they met and they took pictures. They made a big story in the South County News and all about it. And then when the kid who got the kidney donation, when he graduated from college, he got a job in Atlanta, and he came up here and met Hyde again. And then we took Hyde to Clemson one time when they were playing. He got to be the bat boy but I mean, everybody gets tired of hearing the story, but that's
that meeting at Wake Forest, that's not a coincidence.
We just messed it. That's just amazing. Right. And like I say, we still stay in contact with that guy. But yeah, Hyde now is 19 years old and is a freshman at Georgia State.
Doing good. Kidney's working fine.
We still do a Hike for Hyde?
No, we hadn't done it. They used to do it, and it got to where it was so hard for everybody to do, and then the place got so crowded. Yeah. When we first did it, they wouldn't. Nothing was. It was first started. We would have 400 and 500 people there for that thing. It was good.
Out of curiosity, the kidney you got, is that from your son-in-law that went to West Georgia?
No, he's that's my son who went to West Georgia.
Oh, your son went to West Georgia. Okay.
The Warren is from Milford, Pennsylvania. He's a Yankee fan. I don't know how he got in here. He can't understand why we don't like the Yankees or Mets. He said, you got to like one. I said, no, I hate both of them.
Everyone.
Yeah, he's a big Yankee fan.
And throw the Phillies in the mix too.
But when he did the kidney thing, well, he's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's good.
He made it in the wheel.
Yeah, he's good. But yeah, it was pretty cool to do that.
That is really neat.
So you mentioned it a couple times too. You do a hot stove. Tell us
Yep.
what that's about.
Yeah.
So we started the Hot Stove League right after the Braves World Series in '91. We all got thinking, we need to still do something with baseball. So Jerry and I we were both teaching in Forsyth County High School. We said, shoot, we need to do something. So we decided we'd just start having meetings. And we started off, had them at City Park. And then after we moved down to South Forsyth, we met at South Forsyth. Then we met over there remember where Ford Gravett had a little catering place over there where he lived on Kelly Mill Road. Ford, the mayor lived on Kelly Mill Road, and right behind it, he had a house. His wife did catering. And so we'd meet there at night, and she would fix the stuff and for the catering stuff. And that's where I actually had a wedding there. When we do hot stove on one night a month during the season. And then we, on Valentine's Day, we used to, our families all get together, our wives would go to it. And some lady called and wanted to get married. And so I didn't tell them, but I took my robe and hid it in the bathroom, and we were all eating. And about a sudden I saw these people come up the door, and I said, does anybody like to renew their vows? And they all looked at me. So they came in, I did the wedding, and Tom Curran's mother was there, and she played the piano and played Take Me Out the ball game and all. But that was a cool wedding there. We did that. But yeah, we do it in November, December, January, February, and March. We do 5 of them a year. We're thinking about maybe doing some on Sunday afternoon, because a lot of us are getting old to drive at night if it rains and all. But we've had some guests, like we had Necro here one time. We had Pete Van Weeren. We've had a lot of the college coaches. We try to get the high school coaches to come in and bring their schedules and all, and let them talk. And any player that played the major leagues. We've had a lot of minor leaguers. And the weird thing, we'll have those kids, the guys come minor league, and they'll say, well, I don't really want to talk about it. I didn't make it but to AA. And I said, you made it a lot further than we did.
Yeah.
And like Glenn Succo I was telling you about, he only got 12 at bats in the majors. That's 12 more than we got.
So you guys just sit around and talk shop?
Yeah, we just sit around and talk. It's nothing formal.
Y'all got to record these things.
I came with Pete Van Weeren there.
I think Travis did record that one. He was and he recorded the one that when Buck Godfrey came. And I don't know how to. I tried that. Travis moved to Dawson. He went to work for some carpet thing. He worked for the county for a long time. When you call the county, his voice is still on there. But Travis was going to write a book about me. And we had started, but never did. But he moved to Dalton. But he did the one on Buck Godfrey. I'd love to hear it again because it was great. And then Pete Van Weeren come, but we made. And now when Necro was here, he sat here and signed autographs for an hour, and then he talked for an hour, and he kept talking about when he was trying to get his 300th victory. He was playing for the Yankees, and he had lose a game, and him and his brother Joe was on the team, and the Yankees would let him go back home after he lost the game to see his dad, because Dad was real sick. And finally, the last game of the year, he won the game, and his dad was laying there in a coma or something, and he woke up and said he pitched a hell of a game. And then he died that winter, and they put on this tombstone how many games Phil and Joe had won.
That's cool.
When we were here that night, there was about 40 people here that night with Necro, and Dennis Bottoms was here, the preacher, and Gerald Blackburn. They were both preachers there, and they were there. And when they left, Gerald and Dennis said, boy, you boys listen to them better than you do us. I said, he was pretty interesting, wasn't he? You could have heard a pin drop when Necro was here. You could hear.
I'm sure.
But one time Darrell Chaney, a Braves player, wanted to come, or I met him somewhere, and Necro told him, said, you need to go to Johnny's house. And then when Chaney sent me an email, he said he normally doesn't come unless he's had 80 people and he charges so much. I started to say, Necro comes free and you're wanting to charge us. But yeah, we've had real good luck on having people come in and talk and just do stuff. And, it's been fun. But we met, it's been 30 years, I guess, 91 through, or more than that, 35 years, I guess now.
Necro, the most famous athlete?
He's the most famous one, I guess, had to come.
That's cool.
And but a lot of times it's just 8 or 10 hours. We just tell stories and stuff, or we'll do predictions or stuff like that. But we just
all of them are true stories.
All of them are true stories. And we want to get the Harris kid, and the other one is Paul Bird.
Yeah.
Paul Bird spoke up at the NoFo Brewery about 2 months ago. Jason Glaze up in Dawson County, he does some kind of religious thing. Jason and Jeremy Glaze, he's the one that got him up there, so he's going to help us get. Paul Bird lives in Alpharetta, I think.
Brian Jordan does a lot of stuff. He's at my daughter's school all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
So he lives in South Atlanta, doesn't he, son?
Maybe in Alpharetta even. I don't know.
So which school does your daughter go to?
Matt.
Oh, so Brian Jordan could?
Yeah.
Because he's got a children's book or
He
something.
wrote a book and he came and read it to him. He played, if
Really?
they won a tournament or something, he played kickball with them. So he's up there a good bit. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, anybody like that we can get. I mean, we got Michael Barrett. He came up here one time to one of the meetings, and like Michael gave us that bat and stuff. And Michael's we kind of got. And when I went to spring training out in Arizona, Michael Barrett was there, and Micah Owings was out there.
Yeah.
And so Michael was there, and I was talking to Micah, and the other guys with me, they wanted to go to another camp. And I said, I'm just going to hang around here with Micah. Micah said, in a few minutes, Randy Johnson's coming out. So I go up to the gate and stand there, and there's just three of us there. And Randy Johnson came out, and he signed for it. And they were all amazed because they said he normally doesn't sign, but I guess because there was just 2 or 3 of us.
Yeah. That's my claim to fame. I got one hit off of Micah in high school.
Micah, that's good.
So,
Micah.
I fisted it right over second baseman.
Yeah. It was more like a swinging bunt.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So he was at Gainesville then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because he did his first 2 years at Central. Then he went to Gainesville and played his last 2 years. That's what I was telling you about that the day I started a list the other day of major league players that I saw in high school. And I got Mike on there and several others. And then I got another list of major league players that's been here. And I think I'm up to about 15 or 20 that's been here. And
That's neat.
Cool.
just amazing.
Kind of wrapping up, Johnny. We do a little segment called rapid fire, quick fire questions. Just
Put you on the hot seat.
Get you on the hot seat.
Okay.
Yeah. First one I got is current baseball. What do you like with the playoffs started? Who do you like? What's your projections?
Well, the happiest thing was the Mets didn't make it.
Heard that.
My next happiest thing if the Yankees get knocked out and the Phillies get knocked out.
Come on.
I mean,
I don't leave nobody left.
And I hate the Dodgers.
Well,
I mean,
let's go Reds.
Realistically, I'd love to see Seattle get in it because I've never been in it. I like Seattle, and I feel good for Milwaukee. It'd be cool if you saw Milwaukee, Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening. Dodgers are going to win. They're just too strong.
They're filthy. I watched them last night.
They're just loaded. They're too good. I mean, Cincinnati didn't have a chance, but the 3 series have been great. I mean, all six of those games have been on Detroit and Cleveland. Both are good, and I like both of them. They're both have played real good.
You watch about every game on TV?
About every game, yeah. I got the Major League package. I watch a lot of baseball, and because I tape stuff and watch it the next morning, or like I say, I go to the junkyard in the morning for about an hour. I go to the aquatic center usually to walk in the water for a while, and then I'm usually home in the middle of the day. I watch baseball all the time. I mean, I watch a lot of games. But yeah, that would be if I had a choice, I'd like to see Milwaukee and Seattle, but I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be Philly. Well, this Philly Dodger series is probably the World Series.
Oh, yeah. It's a shame they both can't lose.
Because I don't see, I hate both them, man. And I don't like the Red Sox, but I kind of, a little bit, I would like to see them beat the Yankees, but I don't think they can do it. We did a prediction contest, and I think I had the Red Sox and Orioles. We always do a prediction contest every year, and it's always hard. Nobody ever gets more than 7 or 8 out of the 12. That's hard to do.
It's hard. It's a long season.
Baseball's hard, yeah.
Well, take us back to your teaching days. What was your favorite thing about being a coach teacher?
Winning the state championship. I guess you have to say that, I guess. But I'm kind of like the Braves. When everybody thinks the highest compliment for the Braves is the 2 times they won the World Series, but for me, it was 1991 when they got to the World Series. I was so excited about because we was in the playoffs many times and we couldn't get there. And I was in Blytheville, Arkansas. My wife's dad had a heart attack in Denver, and my brother-in-law was in the Air Force in Blytheville. We met in Blytheville, and I saw that game there. I sat there and cried in the middle of the night. Nobody around me, but when Brian Jordan, what's his name? First baseman. Anyway, he tagged the base. We got an out. We got to go to the World Series. That was good. The World Series win is, and the same thing with coaching and teaching high school. When we got to the state tournament the first year second year at South, that was, to me, getting to the state tournament was bigger, but of course winning it all. And then the best thing to me is about kids that you see, like the other night when we had that thing at Central for the 50-year softball reunion. I had 8 girls to come back, and they were probably 8 of my favorite girls, and I gave them the scorebooks, and that's cool. And we had the 50-year anniversary thing at Dawson County. I had 10 out of the 12 girls that played for me the first year. Phil Moore's wife was on my team, and those kind of things. We've stayed in contact with those for a long time.
That's neat.
So in that regard, who do you think the best ball player was that you ever coached? All the hundreds of teams you
best
coached.
athlete probably is Gina Sutko, Glenn's sister.
Okay.
She was probably the best overall athlete. She was a great basketball player, great track girl, went to scholarship in basketball in basketball to UAB, but she was a great softball player. From South, the Tina Harrison was the left-handed shortstop, won the state championship for me. Dawson County, the Tammy Hester hit the ball harder. Another little girl on 9 and 10 softball, Tammy Martin, probably hit the ball as hard as any little girl. 8-year-old, she hit me in the knees a lot of times. She was a hitter.
That's when Ben's coaching that age now. You got to get out of the way with
You're playing dodgeball up there. That's for sure.
That year we won the 10-year-old All-Stars, and we won the state championship, but she was on it. My daughter always claimed we put her on there as extra, as 12th man, which she probably was, but she was on there. And then when Sarah came up to high school, she didn't go out for softball, and they asked her why she didn't, or they asked me why she didn't. I said, because she throws like a girl. She does. She just throws like me. She didn't throw like a softball player.
Too funny.
So I'm going to change this one up a little bit. The question says, what's your most prized physical possession? But I want to know what your prized physical memorabilia item
That's
you
what
have
I
in
was
here.
going for. I'm thinking about the quote. In here, what do you think
the little man down there probably? That little man down there is a ceramic little man. The lady on the first team I coached, she did ceramics, and that's the uniform they wore, and she made that for me and gave it to me at the end of the year. That's probably that.
It's got the CM for Coal Mountain on there.
Yeah, CM for Coal Mountain. Yeah, and that's exactly the uniform. But she made that for me, and then all the boys signed it and all that. That's pretty hard to beat. That would be,
That's neat.
And then of course the Mr. Baseball silver thing down there. I got the Mr. Baseball award they do it one person a year and for the 400 club, and I got it. Aaron got it the year before, and I got it that year, which, the only reason Aaron got it because he was there. He wasn't there. We gave it to Jimmy Carter one year when I was the president.
Yeah.
Jimmy, and I got to be on the stage. Jimmy Carter was on this side and Hank Aaron on this side.
That's pretty
I
good.
got to be in the room with Aaron for about 5 minutes by myself. I was having him sign all kinds of stuff. but then Necro and all the rest of them found out he was in there, and they all kind of shoveled me aside, And then one time we were having a old timers luncheon, and I had Bob Turley, who pitched for the Yankees, and Ernie Johnson were there, and I was going to sit between them. And Furman Bishop from the Atlanta paper came in. I'd invited him every time. He never did come, and all of a sudden he come in and wound up. He had to sit there, and I lost my seat. But anyway, those things are cool to meet.
That is
meet
neat.
people like that.
Yeah,
probably those things are the most of them.
What do you think? One more?
I guess.
Yeah, let's do a couple more.
Okay.
You get to have one Major League Baseball player that hasn't been here to the museum. Who would you like to come?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
Willie Mays.
Okay.
He's my number 24. That's my number.
Okay.
He was my favorite player growing up. I love Willie Mays. He was my man.
Epic player.
I guess the next one would probably be Murphy. Murphy is one of the coolest guys. Let me tell you one Murphy story.
All right.
We were in Philadelphia on that trip. 1991, we took a trip. The kids and my wife said it was a trip from hell. We went to 4 major league games and two minor league games, Cooperstown, and we stopped at 6 or 8 other ones. Anyway, all the way up the thing I'd say, let's get off here. Anyway, we were in Philadelphia and we were going around to look at the historic sites. We were at the Betsy Ross thing where she made the flag or something. They were all in there, and I decided, shoot, we didn't have a ticket. We were going to the Phillies game that night, and I'd been trying to figure out some way to get tickets. So I go out there at a payphone. I called the Phillies office, asked to speak to the clubhouse. They let me speak to Dale Murphy. He had just been traded there. I don't know how they did that, but I talked to Murphy and I said,
from a payphone.
And I said, you don't know me really, Dale, but I said, the kids at my school, the West kids, they were Mormons, and they babysat for Murphy a lot. And I said, they've been over to your house. Oh yeah, I know those kids. And I said, well, my family's up here at the game and we're going to the game. Would you leave us 5 tickets? No problem. He did. So last year at the game, Berea, I told him that story, and he said, well, I really don't remember it, but I don't doubt it. I probably did. And I said, yeah. You couldn't do that today for $100 million. But we were in with the trainer for the Braves, Jeff Porter, used to referee basketball games at South for South, him and Bruce Benedict.
Got it.
And we got to be buddies with Porter. I'd take him Coke, halftime and all. And he made the mistake of telling me, he said, at away games, I don't ever use my tickets. So I went, he said, at home games, my family goes on. But he said, away games, I don't use them. He said, if y'all ever want to go. So then every year we'd pick a game where the Braves were playing, and he'd leave us tickets. And they were great tickets.
Wow.
Too. Then in 2000, I think it was, they started giving him $10.99 or something. He said, I quit doing it. And I said, well, I don't blame him. But we got tickets from him a lot. That was pretty cool to get tickets from him.
I got one more that's not on here. I just thought of it. So we normally ask people your last meal. What are you going to have? Where's it from? But I want to know if you get to pick one baseball stadium food to have.
That's a good choice.
What's your favorite baseball stadium food?
To me, that's weird because I don't eat at ball games.
Really?
I mean, I go to the ball games to watch the dang ball game. I don't care about the stupid food.
Try the hot dogs or the Philly cheesesteak.
I'll usually eat a hot dog or something, but I'm not into this, and I don't care about the stuff at the Battery where you can go to eat all these places. If I'm going to ball game, I'm going to ball game. I don't.
They got a hamburger down at Truist. I don't know what it's called, but it is
big.
the biggest thing I've ever seen.
Now, the best thing I've ever eaten at a ball game, though, was outside of Fenway Park.
Yep.
They have those kibasas and the Polish stuff. Now, just the smell of them's worth it. That's good. And
that's a good answer.
We went to Minor League Park in Yakima, Washington, and they had what they call a family burger. It was as big a plate. It was the family burger. I guess you got the family burger or the hot dog thing. But these new stadiums, they do all this food stuff. And of course, like I say, I hadn't been to Truist, but in the 3 years, and the last time I went, I just can't fight the traffic and the hassle, and I despise the stupid tickets on my phone.
Have you had the fried Snickers over at the Stripers game? Deep fried Snickers, that's a good one.
No, I guess it was. I at the Stripers game. I take water in, hide from the. I guess I'm too cheap to buy stuff. I mean, I'll buy something every once in a while, but food at ball games just don't excite me too much. I don't.
Well, Mr. Johnny, we appreciate you joining us.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
This was great. You truly are a Forsyth County legend, and you got an incredible
thing here. And y'all
need
to come to Hot Stove.
I'd love to.
The information to you. The first one will be in November, the second Wednesday in November. And we'll do that, and then we'll try to get Mitch Harris.
We can make that happen.
We need to find out if Wednesday nights are better for him or if he's got church, if another time's better. I'm thinking about trying to do some Sunday afternoons because a lot of our guys are getting so old they don't want to drive it now.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some parking, but not a whole lot of parking, but it's not too bad.
But if folks want to learn more about you or see the museum or anything like that,
anytime.
How can they find you and get in touch with you?
Just either call me or...
You on Facebook?
I guess I am.
Yeah, he's on Facebook.
I don't know how. All I know is how to look on it. I don't know how to
Johnny
look up
Tallant.
anything. I don't know how to look up.
Y'all look up Johnny Tallant on Facebook and give him a call. Come check out this museum. It's special. Anything else you want to add?
No, just I appreciate you coming. Enjoyed it.
It was our pleasure.
I always love to talk about it. It's always a lot of fun.
That's fun.
It's been 10 or 20 years since I've been here, but I just love it every time. So I appreciate you.
Yes,
Your sister was here getting married here. She came and got married, didn't she?
Yeah, she got her certificate. I did the ceremony in Jamaica. It just didn't count.
I did her certificate, and I told her I wouldn't charge her anything because of Lamar. Lamar's her uncle or grandfather, and Lamar's one that gave me he didn't give me my coaching job, but I took over for him at Cold Mountain. And that was the weird thing. I wanted to coach a long time before that, but they kept saying I was too young, and I didn't have any kids. I think I was the first Little League coach around here without kids, which is... I mean, it's good because coaching your own kids is hard.
Yeah, I'm doing it here in about 3 hours.
It's just not fun. So where do y'all play at it?
We play out of Cold Mountains at our home field, but tonight we're at Fowler Park. Yeah. Well, thanks again. As always, you can find us at bettismusgrove.com, any social media platform, Bettis Musgrove. Get your podcast wherever you get your podcast. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.